Hello everyone, it's Zinia here, and today I'm back to share with you a layout I created using the beautiful inked rose stamp set by Altenew and a combination of inks and watercolor brush markers. I'm starting with a sheet of 12 by 12 white cardstock, also by Altenew, and I'm going to stamp the rose and leaves images using Altenew crisp dye inks. I started by picking my colors from the Spring Garden watercolor marker set, and then I picked coordinating ink colors. So I went with Sea Breeze, Dusk, Rubelite, and Midnight Violet. And I'm basically stamping them in sort of like a ombre gradient order. I'm starting with a light blue, then going to a darker blue, a deep purple, and a beautiful pink. And I'm doing that because I will slowly transition in a kind of blendy way from one color to another. And as you saw, I actually started by stamping the flower images and then I filled in the gaps with the leaves. And I also did some off-the-page stamping just to make it look more natural. You can definitely try and just fill the whole page if you want, but I kept it simple and only covered the left side of my page. Now, as I said, I'm going to color these with the watercolor brush markers, also by Altenew, and to kind of create that watery gradient effect, I am using the help of the watercolor palette. I believe this is the medium size, but there's also a larger one if you want to include more color. Basically scribbling the ink of the marker on the palette, and then I'm just picking it with, I think this is a medium or large size water brush, but basically any size you feel comfortable with will work. So I'm just picking the color with the water brush and I'm spreading it and lightening it out as I go. I'm trying to keep the colors deeper and more vibrant within the designs of the stamp, and I'm doing a lighter wash on the background around the elements. But I do, as I said, I'm kind of mixing the colors and going from one to another in a gradient style. So you can see at the bottom of that purple flower, I did mix in a little bit of the pink just to warm it up and create that impression. So I'm basically going to move on and fill in the rest of the page in the exact same way. So I'm going to skip on some footage to save some of your time. It's basically the exact same way. And what I love about this technique is that you don't need to do very careful and very precise coloring. The looser, the better. And I'm basically a huge fan of loose and quick coloring. So here you see everything is dry. I think I left my page a couple of hours to make sure all the ink is fully dry. Generally, the Altenew inks, the watercolor markers dry pretty fast, so you need to move quickly if you're not working on watercolor paper. If you are working on watercolor paper, you have a little bit more of an open window to spread the color. But they do generally, because they're dye-based, they dry fast and they stay in the paper. But that's also really cool because they have very, very vibrant colors. So anyway, after I left my background to dry completely, I'm going to add splatters with ink sprays. And unfortunately, we don't have the full Altenew color range in the sprays, but I managed to find colors that match beautifully. So I'm going there with some Ocean Wave for the light blue. Then I have some Dusk and Cosmic Berry and Puffy Heart, I believe. Hopefully in the near future Altenew will release ink sprays for the rest of the color line, because the color sprays are amazing and all the Altenew colors are so pretty. So I really hope to get the full Altenew palette in ink sprays. But meanwhile, we can mix and match with what we have since there's a great collection already. So I am also adding some white ink splatters. This is the pure white ink spray. And I did add a lot of them because it kind of absorbs into the paper and it softens So I wanted some soft and some more crisp splatters to go around. Once the splatters were also dry, it was time to add a few embellishments. And for that, I picked the monochrome washi tape, which is a really beautiful blue floral washi tape. And I stuck a piece of the tape on some printer paper and cut around it to turn it into an embellishment. So that's what you see here. And I kind of created a floral cluster around my photo. Now I wanted to bring a little bit more of that vibrant color on the right side of my page, but I didn't want to do stamping all over. So instead of adding the same stamping and pattern all over again on the right side, I just picked the markers and I scribbled on some very bad leaves. As you see, it's kind of like pretty terrible. You can barely say they're leaves. However, the point is to add color. So I'm just taking a water brush and I'm kind of spreading off the color and adding some touch of that lighter mist around the leaf designs, and that was exactly what was needed there. It doesn't really need to look special. It doesn't need to look like an amazing illustration. Just adding that little bit of color balances the page and makes it work very well. Now the very last bit for this page was to add a couple of cheap bird stickers. These are from the Reflection collection, and I can call this page done. You can check all the products I use for this page and more photos and details on how this came together on the Altenew Scrapbook blog, so make sure to take a look. The link will be included in the description box. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you so much for stopping by. I will see you again soon. Until then, happy crafting!